The sister wives world just witnessed something it has never seen before. Not another wife walking away, not another explosive argument, not even another property dispute or polygamy debate. This time, it was something far more devastating. Two of Kody Brown's daughters stepped in front of the cameras and delivered updates so emotionally raw, so brutally honest, that the entire fan base is still reeling. Madison Brush, daughter of Janelle Brown, and Isabel Brown, daughter of Kody Brown, sat down for confessional-style interviews during season 20, and what they revealed shattered any remaining illusions about the state of the Brown family. These weren't vague statements about needing space or time to heal. These were direct, painful admissions about estrangement, therapy, disappointment, and years of unresolved trauma. Madison spoke through tears about being open to reconciliation with her father, but only if he could prove consistency. She admitted she has relied on therapy to process the emotional damage caused by growing up in chaos, and she made one thing painfully clear: she does not want to be disappointed again. Isabel's update carried a different kind of devastation. Quiet, resigned, almost matter of fact. When asked if she and her father talk, she didn't hesitate. "No, we don't talk very often, no." There was no anger in her voice, just sadness, just acceptance of a reality she has lived with for years. For fans who have watched this family since 2010, the moment hit like a freight train. Because this wasn't speculation anymore, this wasn't tabloid gossip or social media rumors. This was two young women speaking directly to the camera, confirming what viewers have suspected for years. Kody Brown is not present in his children's lives, and the emotional fallout is far worse than anyone imagined. What makes this update so uniquely powerful is the shift in narrative. For years, the drama revolved around Cody and his wives. Kody leaving, Janelle distancing herself, Mary trapped in a loveless marriage, Robin positioned as the favorite. But now the children are speaking, and their voices carry a weight that cannot be dismissed or spun. Madison and Isabelle are not angry ex-wives with axes to grind. They are daughters who wanted a relationship with their father and were repeatedly let down. They are young women who had to seek therapy, build new family structures, and learn to navigate life without the presence of the man who was supposed to protect them. Fans across social media erupted. Reddit threads exploded, TikTok commentary videos went viral, and the consensus was unanimous. This was the most heartbreaking, gut-wrenching moment in Sister Wives history, because it wasn't about polygamy anymore. It wasn't about religion or lifestyle choices. It was about children grieving the father they never truly had. And Kody Brown, whether he realizes it or not, has just been destroyed by the very people he claims to love most. But that was just the beginning. Madison Brush did not hold back. And for anyone who thought she might soften her stance or offer her father an easy path back into her life, her season 20 confessional made one thing crystal clear. Forgiveness is possible, but it comes with conditions. And those conditions require something Kody Brown has never been able to deliver: consistency. Madison sat in front of the cameras and admitted she is open to reconciliation. She even said the words out loud. She wants closure, she wants healing, she wants a relationship with her father. But then came the devastating qualifier: she needs to see a pattern of change. Not grand gestures, not apologies crafted for the cameras, not promises made in moments of guilt or defensiveness. She needs sustained, genuine effort over time. And based on everything she has experienced, she is not holding her breath. Madison has been forced to process years of emotional neglect through therapy. She did not just casually mention this in passing. She made it a central part of her update. Therapy became necessary because of the way her father treated her, because of the things he said about her publicly, because of the emotional chaos she grew up navigating. In a previous Instagram question and answer session, Madison wrote something that fans have not forgotten. She said that when your dad says hurtful things about you for the entire world to hear, it teaches you real quick. That single statement revealed the depth of damage. This was not a recent falling out. This was a lifetime of criticism, comparison, and conditional love. During her confessional, Madison fought back tears as she explained her internal struggle. She loves her father, she wants him to show up, but she is also angry, and she is desperately trying not to be disappointed again. That last part hit hardest, because it exposed the cycle she has been trapped in. Hope followed by disappointment. Promises followed by absence. Words followed by inaction. Fans watching from home recognized the pain immediately. Many shared their own stories of strained relationships with parents who could not follow through. Others pointed out that Madison's maturity and self-awareness were remarkable given what she has endured. She is not refusing reconciliation out of spite. She is protecting herself from further harm, and that protection is necessary. Because Cody has a documented history of making grand declarations without backing them up. He has promised to be better better. He has claimed he reaches out to all his children. He has framed himself as the victim of unfair treatment. But his children tell a different story, and Madison is done pretending otherwise. Her message to her father was clear. If you want a relationship with me, prove it. Not with words, not with explanations, not with justifications or deflections. Prove it with time, effort, and consistency. Show me that I matter. Show me that you are willing to change the patterns that broke this family in the first place. Until then, Madison is keeping her distance, and she is doing it for her own emotional survival. But her update was only half the story. Isabel Brown's update carried a different kind of heartbreak. Where Madison's confession was filled with tears and raw emotion, Isabel's was quiet, calm, almost resigned, and somehow that made it even more devastating. When producers asked if she and her father talk regularly, Isabelle did not hesitate. She did not sugarcoat. She simply said no. We don't talk very often, no. There was no anger in her voice, no bitterness, just a simple statement of fact, a reality she has learned to accept. She went on to clarify that while Cody is technically her dad, they are not close, not in the way a father and daughter should be. And then came the line that broke viewers' hearts all over again. He's my dad, and I love him. It was a sentence filled with grace, but also with profound sadness, because loving someone does not mean they show up for you. And Isabelle has learned that lesson the hard way. Fans remember Isabelle's story all too well. Years ago, she faced major spinal surgery to correct severe scoliosis. It was a serious, life-altering procedure, and Christine begged Cody to be there, to support their daughter, to show up when it mattered most, but Cody refused. He claimed he could not leave Flagstaff because of restrictions and responsibilities. He made excuses. He prioritized other things. And Isabelle went through one of the most frightening experiences of her young life without her father by her side. That moment became a defining symbol of Cody's failures as a parent. And now, years later, nothing has changed. Isabelle confirmed what fans already suspected. Her father is still absent, still distant, still unwilling or unable to build a real relationship with her. But Isabelle also revealed something else. Something that spoke volumes about the kind of mother Christine has been. She said that Christine has had to become two people in one, both mother and father, and she does it perfectly. Isabelle's words were filled with admiration and gratitude, because while her father disappeared, her mother stepped up in ways that went far beyond expectation. And then there was David Woolley, Christine's new husband. Isabelle praised him openly, explaining that he does not try to take her dad's place. He respects boundaries, he loves her mother, he shows up. And in doing so, he has become a presence in her life that her biological father never was. Fans saw this as an indirect but powerful comparison. David Woolley, a man with no biological connection to Isabelle, has shown her more care and consistency than Cody ever did. And that reality speaks louder than any accusation or criticism ever could. Isabelle's update was not filled with rage or demands, it was simply the truth. She loves her father, but she has learned to live without him, and she has built a life surrounded by people who actually show up. The question now is whether Cody even realizes what he has lost. But fans are not staying silent. Kody Brown has spent years trying to control the narrative. He has given interviews where he insists he reaches out to all his children. He has claimed that his ex-wives poison the kids against him. He has positioned himself as the misunderstood father who simply wants to rebuild but keeps getting rejected. And for a while, some viewers gave him the benefit of the doubt. But Madison and Isabelle just obliterated that carefully crafted image because their testimonies do not align with anything Cody has been saying. And when your own children contradict your public story, there is nowhere left to hide. Madison's revelation that she needed therapy to process the trauma of growing up with Cody as a father directly contradicts his claim that he was present and loving. Isabelle's admission that they rarely speak contradicts his insistence that he is trying to stay connected. These are not bitter ex-wives with agendas. These are his daughters, and they are telling the world a very different version of events. What makes this even more damaging is the pattern it reveals. Madison and Isabelle are not isolated cases. Garrison Brown, before his tragic death earlier this year, made it clear that he felt abandoned by his father. Leon Brown, Cody's child with Mary, publicly called him a liar and severed ties completely. Gwendolyn Brown has been vocal on social media about the dysfunction in the family, and now Madison and Isabelle have added their voices to the chorus. This is not a single falling out. This is a long-term pattern of emotional neglect, favoritism, and absence, and the evidence is mounting from every corner of the Brown family. Fans have also connected the dots to something even darker. Garrison's death shook the sister wives community to its core. And while the full circumstances remain private, many believe that the estrangement from his father played a role in his emotional state. The fact that Cody was not close to Garrison before his passing has haunted viewers. And now, hearing Madison and Isabel describe their own strained relationships, fans are left wondering how many more children are silently suffering. The narrative has shifted in a way Cody cannot spin. For years, the drama focused on wives versus Cody, Christine leaving, Janelle distancing herself, Mary trapped in limbo, Robin positioned as the golden child, but wives can be dismissed as emotional, as angry, as holding grudges. Children cannot. When your own kids say you were not there, the public listens, and they believe them. This is why fans are saying Cody has been destroyed, because the credibility gap is too wide, because the testimonies are too consistent, because the pain is too real. Madison and Isabel did not set out to ruin their father's reputation. They simply told the truth, and the truth is devastating. Cody can no longer hide behind excuses or blame his ex-wives for turning the kids against him. His children are speaking for themselves, and what they are saying is damning. But there is more to unpack. Madison's admission that she has needed therapy to process her relationship with her father is not just a passing detail. It is a seismic revelation that reframes everything viewers thought they knew about the Brown family. Because therapy is not something you pursue for minor disagreements or temporary hurt feelings. Therapy is what you need when the damage runs deep, when the wounds are old, when the trauma has layers. And Madison made it clear that her trauma is directly tied to her father. She explained that growing up with Cody meant dealing with public criticism, hurtful comments, and emotional chaos. She referenced the things he said about her for the entire world to hear, and she admitted that those moments taught her harsh lessons about trust, disappointment, and self-protection. This was not a teenage phase she outgrew. This was a pattern that shaped her entire childhood and followed her into adulthood. Fans immediately recognized the weight of this confession, because it confirmed what many had suspected for years. The dysfunction in the Brown family was not just between Cody and his wives. It trickled down to the children. It affected their sense of stability, their self-worth, and their ability to trust the people who were supposed to love them unconditionally. Madison's decision to speak openly about therapy also sent a powerful message. She is not ashamed of seeking help. She is not hiding the fact that her father's behavior caused real psychological harm, and she is not protecting Cody's image at the expense of her own healing. That kind of honesty takes courage, and it resonated deeply with viewers who have their own stories of family trauma. What makes this even more significant is the context. Madison is not the only Brown child who has struggled emotionally. Garrison's death earlier this year left fans devastated and searching for answers. While the family has kept many details private, it is clear that Garrison was dealing with deep pain, and his estrangement from Cody was well documented. The fact that another one of Cody's children is now publicly discussing the need for therapy raises uncomfortable questions about the long-term impact of his parenting. Fans are also pointing out that therapy is not a quick fix, it is an ongoing process, which means Madison has been working through this pain for months, possibly years. She has had to unpack memories, confront emotions, and learn how to set boundaries, and all of that work has been necessary because of the environment she grew up in. This is not about a single argument or a one-time disappointment. This is about generational hurt, about patterns of neglect and favoritism that have scarred multiple children across multiple families. And Madison's willingness to name it publicly has given other estranged Brown children permission to do the same. Cody can no longer dismiss this as wives being dramatic or exaggerating their grievances. His daughter needed professional help to recover from the damage he caused, and that is not something he can explain away. The fallout is only getting worse. For years, Kody Brown and Janelle Brown have been accused of being bitter ex-wives, of holding grudges, of refusing to let go. Cody has painted them as angry, unforgiving, and manipulative. Robin has suggested they poisoned the children against him, and some viewers, at least initially, wondered if there was truth to those claims. But Madison and Isabel just proved that Kody and Janelle were telling the truth all along. Every complaint the mothers voiced about Cody's absence, his favoritism, his emotional neglect, has now been confirmed by the daughters who lived through it. Madison's therapy revelation validates Janelle's concerns about the long-term damage Cody was causing. Isabel's admission that Kody had to be both mother and father proves that Kody's frustrations were not exaggerations, they were survival strategies. This is vindication in its purest form, because the daughters are not repeating their mother's talking points, they are sharing their own lived experiences. And those experiences align perfectly with what Kody and Janelle have been saying for years. Fans are now looking back at old episodes with fresh eyes, Moments where Christine begged Kody to show up for Isabel's surgery. Scenes where Janelle expressed frustration about Kody's lack of involvement with their kids. Conversations where both women tried to explain that the children were hurting. All of it was dismissed by Kody as drama or overreaction, but it was not. It was reality. And now the children are speaking that reality out loud. What makes this even more significant is the narrative shift it creates. For years, the sister wives storyline revolved around wives versus Kody, marital breakdowns, polygamy struggles, property disputes, romantic jealousy. Those were the frames through which viewers understood the dysfunction. But now the frame has shifted to children versus Kody, and that changes everything. Because when wives complain, they can be written off as emotional or vengeful. But when children confirm the same patterns of neglect and abandonment, the credibility gap closes. Kody can no longer claim that Christine and Janelle turned the kids against him. The kids experienced it firsthand, and they are old enough now to articulate it clearly. Madison and Isabelle are not angry teenagers lashing out. They are grown women who have had years to reflect, process, and decide how they want to move forward, and their conclusions are damning. Their father was not present. Their father caused real harm, and their father has not changed. This is a public relations nightmare for Kody because he cannot spin it. He cannot rewrite history. He cannot blame the ex-wives when his own daughters are contradicting him, and he cannot claim he is the victim when the people who suffered most are speaking out. Christine and Janelle do not need to say another word. Their daughters have said it for them, and the sister wives world is listening. But the online reaction has been even more explosive. The moment Madison and Isabel's updates aired, the sister wives fan base exploded. Reddit threads filled with thousands of comments within hours. TikTok commentary videos racked up millions of views. Twitter timelines flooded with reactions ranging from heartbreak to outrage, and the consensus across every platform was unanimous. This was the most genuine, devastating moment in the show's history. Fans called the updates gut-wrenching, heartbreaking, and painfully real. Many admitted they cried watching Madison fight back tears as she talked about not wanting to be disappointed again. Others said Isabel's quiet resignation was even harder to watch because it showed just how deeply she had accepted her father's absence. The comments poured in by the thousands. This is the most honest sister wives has ever been. Kody's kids are done protecting him. The emotional fallout is worse than we ever imagined. Christine and Janelle raised strong daughters while Kody was off playing favorites. But the reaction was not just sympathy for the daughters, it was fury directed at Kody, and specifically at the role Robyn Brown has played in the family's collapse. Fans have spent years documenting Kody's shift after Robyn entered the family. They have tracked his declining visits to his other wives and children. They have pointed out the favoritism, the unequal distribution of time and resources, and the way Kody seemed to abandon his original families once Robyn became his focus. And now, with Madison and Isabelle confirming the emotional damage that favoritism caused, viewers feel vindicated in their observations. Comments flooded social media blaming Robyn for enabling Kody's neglect. Robyn knew what was happening and said nothing. She benefited from him abandoning his other families. She got the husband and the resources while everyone else got scraps. The anger was palpable, and it was not just aimed at Kody anymore. Robyn was being held accountable too. Some fans went deeper, analyzing the power dynamics at play. They pointed out that Robyn has always positioned herself as the victim, claiming she was blindsided by the family's collapse. But Madison and Isabel's updates suggest the dysfunction was happening long before the official splits. And Robyn was there for all of it. She saw Kody neglecting his other children. She witnessed the favoritism, and according to fans, she did nothing to stop it. In fact, many believe she encouraged it. The fan base also rallied around Madison and Isabelle, praising their bravery for speaking out. Viewers recognize that going public with family trauma is not easy, especially when millions of people are watching. But Madison and Isabelle did it anyway, and fans are calling them heroes for refusing to protect their father's image at the expense of their own truth. The sister wives world has officially turned against Kody, and the damage to his reputation may be irreversible. But Robyn's role in this disaster cannot be ignored. Robyn Brown has always been the most controversial figure in the sister wives universe, and now in the wake of Madison and Isabelle's emotional updates, fans are placing a significant portion of the blame for the family's destruction directly at her feet. The timeline is impossible to ignore. Before Robyn entered the family in 2010, Kody had 3 wives and 13 children. The family was not perfect, but there was at least some semblance of balance. Kody rotated between households, he attended events, he showed up even if inconsistently, but after Robyn joined the family, everything changed. Fans have spent years tracking Kody's declining presence in his other homes. They have documented how his visits to Janelle became less frequent, how his time with Christine's children dwindled, how Mary was left completely isolated, and all the while, Cody was spending the majority of his time at Robin's house, with Robin's children, building a life that excluded everyone else. Madison and Isabel's updates confirm what viewers have been saying all along. The favoritism was real, the neglect was real, and the emotional damage it caused was catastrophic. What makes Robin's role even more damning is her refusal to acknowledge it. She has consistently positioned herself as the innocent victim, the wife who did everything right but still got blamed, the woman who just wanted a happy plural family but watched it fall apart. But fans are not buying it anymore. Because Robin was not a passive observer, she was an active participant. Viewers point to countless examples. Robin demanding that Cody prioritize her children's needs over his other kids. Robin insisting that Cody stay close to her home during restrictions, even when it meant abandoning his other families. Robin crying about feeling unloved while Christine, Janelle, and Mary were being starved of attention. The pattern is clear. Robin benefited from Cody's neglect of his other families, and she did nothing to stop it. Some fans believe Robin actively encouraged Cody's favoritism. They point to moments where she reinforced his negative views of his ex-wives, where she validated his anger instead of pushing him toward reconciliation, where she positioned herself as the only wife who truly understood him, and in doing so, she created a dynamic where Cody felt justified in abandoning everyone else. Madison's therapy revelation and Isabel's emotional distance are the direct consequences of that dynamic. These daughters grew up watching their father choose Robin over and over again. They watched him prioritize her children, her needs, her feelings, and they learned that they did not matter as much. That lesson has scarred them in ways that may never fully heal. Fans are now calling Robin the architect of the family's collapse, not because she forced Cody to neglect his children, but because she enabled it, she allowed it, and she benefited from it. And now, the fallout is undeniable. But what does this mean for the future? Madison and Isabel's emotional updates have fundamentally shifted the trajectory of Sister Wives. What started as a show about polygamy and plural marriage has transformed into something far more complex. A story about generational trauma, estrangement, and the long-term consequences of neglect. And fans believe this shift will define the show moving forward. Producers have clearly recognized the emotional power of these storylines. The decision to give Madison and Isabel extended confessional time, to let them speak openly about their pain, signals a new direction. This is no longer just about Cody and his wives. This is about the children who grew up in chaos and are now demanding accountability. What viewers are expecting from the rest of season 20 is raw, unfiltered honesty. They want to see Cody confronted with the reality of what his daughters have said. They want to know if he will attempt genuine reconciliation or continue making excuses. They want to watch Christine and Janelle process their daughter's pain and support them through it. And they want to see if Robin will finally acknowledge her role in the family's collapse. Some fans are speculating that this emotional arc is setting up something even bigger, a next-generation spin-off. A show that follows the Brown children as they navigate adulthood, build their own families, and process the trauma of their upbringing. Madison, Isabel, Leon, Gwendolyn, and the other estranged children have stories that are just as compelling as their parents, and viewers are hungry for more. There is also speculation about whether Cody will actually follow through on his so-called apology tour. Recent episodes tease that Cody plans to apologize to his ex-wives for the hurtful things he said after they left, but fans are skeptical because Cody has a history of making grand gestures that lack substance. And based on Madison and Isabel's updates, his children are not interested in empty words. Madison made it clear that she needs consistency. Not apologies, not promises, consistency. And that is something Cody has never been able to deliver. So the question becomes, will he rise to the challenge, or will he continue the pattern of disappointing his children over and over again? Isabel's quiet resignation suggests she is not holding her breath. She has accepted that her father is not going to change, and while she still loves him, she has built a life that does not depend on his presence. That kind of emotional detachment is both heartbreaking and empowering, and it raises the question of whether reconciliation is even possible at this point. For Christine and Janelle, these updates represent validation. Their daughters have confirmed everything they tried to tell Cody for years, and now with David Woolley in Christine's life and Janelle focusing on her independence, both women are moving forward, with or without Cody's acknowledgement. The sister wives world is watching closely because this story is far from over. But one question remains. The question haunting every Sister Wives fan right now is the one no one can definitively answer. Can this family ever truly heal? Can the relationships between Cody and his estranged children be repaired? Or has the damage gone too deep, lasted too long, and cut too many wounds to ever fully recover? Madison's conditional offer of forgiveness suggests that healing is theoretically possible, but only if Cody can demonstrate sustained consistency. Not for weeks, not for months, but for years. She needs proof that he has changed, that he will not disappear again, that he will not make promises he cannot keep. And based on his track record, that is an incredibly high bar to clear. The problem is that Cody has never been consistent. His entire parenting style has been defined by unpredictability. He shows up when it is convenient. He prioritizes the children who demand the least from him. He makes grand declarations about wanting to reconnect, but then fails to follow through. And his children have learned not to trust his words. Isabel's quiet acceptance of her father's absence suggests she has already moved past the hope of reconciliation. She loves him. She acknowledges he is her father, but she has built a life that does not require his presence, and in many ways that is the healthiest response to someone who repeatedly lets you down. Protect yourself, build your support system elsewhere, and let go of the expectation that they will change. But letting go does not mean the pain disappears, it just means you have learned to live with it, and that is a heartbreaking reality for any child to face. For Cody, the path to redemption requires something he has never been willing to do. He would need to acknowledge the full extent of his failures, not just the things he said after his wives left, but the years of neglect before that. The favoritism, the emotional abandonment, the prioritization of Robin's family over everyone else. He would need to own all of it without defensiveness, without deflection, without blaming his ex-wives for poisoning the children against him. And then, after acknowledging it, he would need to prove through consistent action that he has changed. Weekly phone calls, regular visits, showing up for birthdays, graduations, and life milestones, being present even when it is inconvenient, even when Robin does not want him to leave, even when it requires sacrifice. But based on everything viewers have seen, that kind of transformation seems unlikely. Cody is too invested in his victim narrative, too defensive about his choices, too unwilling to confront the uncomfortable truth that he is the reason his family fell apart. So the painful answer to the question everyone is asking might simply be no. This family may never fully heal, the relationships may never be restored, and the Brown children may have to continue building lives that do not include their father. And that is the most devastating reality of all. Drop your thoughts below, like, subscribe, and stay tuned. The next video is waiting, and you won't want to miss what's coming next.